Thai Worldwide Ministry, taking the gospel to all.
Good morning and praise the Lord. My name is SERAH KAHURI. I have the joy of salvation from KAHURI. Today we are going to talk about owning the environment. And before we get to talking about owning the environment, let me give a little background about myself and maybe the reasons why we decided to have this talk. By profession, I am a geographic information systems analyst looking at the environment, looking at climate change. We want to understand the environment as God made it, and we want to look at the interactions between man and the environment, and the animals and the plants. And all this, I learned it from the University of Twente from Holland, and so I'll be sharing that knowledge with my fellow Kenyans. Career-wise, I have also been a lecturer at the Kenya Institute of Surveying and Mapping, where my main activity was to teach the young Kenyans how to map the land and make sure that we're doing the best with our land. And with that brief introduction, let us now start at looking the theme of this month, which is owning the environment and the benefits of work. We want to look, first of all, what are the components of the environment? The environment, we're talking about the soil as we know it, the soil, the rocks. That is one component. The other component is the water bodies. And the water bodies is the rivers, the lakes, the seas, the swamps, the ocean, the rain clouds, and even the underground water bodies. Another component of the environment is all life. That means the trees. Plant life is the trees, the shrubs, the vegetables. The other one is the animal life, and that includes us human beings, the birds, the reptiles, and all animals as we know them. Another very important component of the environment is the air that we breathe. Now, all these components, sometimes people say that the earth came into existence as a result of the, scientifically, they talk about many theories. But because I am a Christian, I'm going to talk about who is the architect of the environment. And I take you to Proverbs 8, verse 22 to 30. That is Jesus speaking. And he says, when God appointed the foundations of the earth, that means God is the architect, and Jesus was a witness. And then also in Colossians 1:16, he says, by him all things were created, whether they be thrones, dominions, or principalities, all things were created by him, God, and for him. So he just didn't bring these things for nothing. He created them, and they were for him. We also see in Psalms 104, verse 5, it says, the foundations of the earth he laid. That means when you lay something, you have a plan. It just didn't happen. He laid the foundations of the earth that it should not be removed forever. And that is where we are this month, taking care of the environment. Now, let us go now that we know the architect, the designer of the environment. God put the soil, the water, the trees, and every day he finished his creation, he said that it was good. Now, let us go to Genesis. Why do we need to know? Because there must be a reason. Why do we need to own the environment? First, in Genesis 2, verse 15, we read that the Lord took the man and put him in the Garden of Eden to work. Listen to this, to work and to take care of it. Now, why would God give Adam the duties of working, not just working, but taking care of it? One of the reasons is because God has trust in man. God trusts in us. He knows that we have the capability of not just working, but also taking care of the environment. And when you work something, you have a plan, you have an agenda, and that God's agenda was to work and take care of it. Then we also see that in Genesis 2:16 to 17, God commanded him. Listen to this. God commanded him that you may eat freely. You know, God does not expect us. He's kind. He's generous. He did not expect Adam to till the land, to take care of it, and go hungry. No, he says, you may eat freely from every tree in the garden. Ngai nĩ watha. Ngai ndaexpectaga Adam arĩmage mũgũnda ũcio ena ng'aragu eohete mũthiori. No, he tells him, eat freely from the garden, from every tree. All the, you can imagine the beautiful fruits that we can get from the forest, the orchards, the olives, all those beautiful fruits. God commanded Adam that he should eat freely. And you know why? He wants us to benefit from the environment. The environment is a design from God. He wants us to enjoy its products, its fruits. And then after that, God, he told Adam, he formed every animal in the field and every bird of the sky. He brought them to Adam to see what he would name them. Now, here, we do not see God informing Adam, call this a cat, call this a dog, call this a zebra, call this a cow, call this a goat. No. God wanted to see what Adam would name each and every plant. Now, what does this tell us? God had, when he was making Adam, he knew, he put information in him. He could put capabilities in Adam that he would be able to name. God does not expect us just to live without a plan. Because when we look at the animals, Adam had to group them. He grouped them, he grouped the plants, and that is why sometimes I actually feel like, how did Adam put a cat and a lion in the cat family? Because that is the knowledge that God had put into him. And so when God gives us an assignment, he has already capacitated us. He has made it possible. He has put knowledge in us. He doesn't just give us work without expecting us to accomplish it according to his good agenda. And so he also expects us to think outside the box. Sometimes we sit down and we are waiting from, knowledge from where, but God has put in us enough knowledge, enough wisdom. Sometimes it is us who do not use it because he expects us to think outside the box and work according to his will. Now, sometimes we ask ourselves, when the bishop gave us this theme, I'm sure we asked ourselves, is there a commandment telling us what to do with the environment? And yes, there is. In Mark 12:30-31, Jesus was being asked, and he answered, and you shall love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul and all your strength. The second is this, you shall love your neighbor as you love yourself. There is no other commandment greater than this. Now, when we love our neighbors as we love ourselves, because now we are here on the environment, what does that mean? It means you're not going to cut the trees, because when you cut the trees upstream, downstream, the water will be contaminated, because it is trees that sieve and sift the water as it seeps underground, so that as it goes downstream, that water is purified. When you love your neighbor, we do not cultivate the land in an unsustainable manner. Let us look today what is happening worldwide. We have a lot of chemicals and a lot of pesticides and artificial fertilizers that are being used. And some of these chemicals which are being used or manufactured for use in some countries, those chemicals are hazardous to human health. Is it a wonder that we're having a lot of cancer cases these days? It is because people do not love their neighbors as they love themselves. You want to grow your vegetables in a very quick way. You want to, 2 months, you want to have a ready vegetable. And that vegetable maybe takes 4 months. But you add chemicals to make them grow faster. Niki, ni tondu wa gukoroka, ni tondu wa kwenda gutonga na ihenya. ugekira migunda yaku fertilizer na mugunda uyu Ngai ni atwirire tumenyerere na tuurutire wira. Ni uraruta wira no ni uraruta wira na uria Ngai atwathire tukiendaga ucio ungi toria twiyendete we mwenyewe, ugagikuria mboga ciaku very quickly. 2 months you are in the market with your vegetables, and now you are polluting the environment. Those chemicals you're putting in the soil, which some of them, they are not even supposed to be in the soil. Why? Because you do not love your neighbor. So yes, there is a commandment. Kwĩrĩ athani rĩekĩrirwo hau rĩa kũmenyerera environment. Enda mũndũ ũcio ũngĩ o ta ũrĩa wĩyendete we mwenyewe. Enda Ngai na ngoro yaku yothe na hinya waku wothe. So hĩndĩ ĩrĩa tũgũthũkia environment, hĩndĩ ĩrĩa tũgũtema mĩtĩ, hĩndĩ ĩrĩa tũkũrega ona gũthondeka ũrĩa tũraitanga gĩko gitũ, tuonaga kũndũ kũngĩ sewage ĩrekagĩrĩrio ĩgathiĩ ũrĩa ĩrenda, that is not taking care of the environment. You are polluting the environment, and that is not according to God's will. Rĩu-rĩ, what does owning the environment, the natural, umuthi turaria uhoro wa natural environment, kiumia giki nituguthi tukiroga environment ingi, umuthi turaria uhoro wa the soil, the rivers, the trees. What does owning the environment, natural environment entail? Kindu kia mbere ni kumenya thogora. Knowing the worth of the environment, that is the only time we can start taking care of the environment. If you don't know the value of this tree, you won't take care of it. And let me tell you, mathematically, even science has not been able to mathematically quantify. Tutingihota kuga ati tĩri ũrĩa wĩ thĩ ĩno rĩ nĩ wa birioni $, cigana. That has not been possible because it was designed. The architect is God. You cannot be able to mathematically quantify. Na hĩndĩ ĩrĩa wamenya atĩ kĩndũ gĩkĩ kĩna goro ũtangĩhota gũtuĩka wa $, hĩndĩ ĩyo nĩ ũkamenya kĩndũ gĩkĩ nĩ kĩagĩrĩirwo nĩ kũmenyererwo. Na rĩu kwoguo rĩ tũcimbaga gũkũ tĩri tũkawĩkĩra kĩrĩa tũrenda, rũĩ tũkarũikia nginya sewage, tũgekĩra sewage ĩgathiĩ na kũu. Why? Because we do not understand the value of water. Tũtemangaga mĩtĩ ĩrĩa ĩkuo Ngai atwĩheire nĩ tondũ tũtira understand the value of the tree. Nĩ tondũ mĩtĩ nĩyo ĩthondekaga oxygen, na oxygen nĩwe tũtũragia muoyo. Korwo no kũhotekeke atĩ mĩtĩ yothe thĩ ng'ima ĩtemwo, plant ciothe itemwo rĩ, tũtingĩikara thĩ, tũngĩkua ithuothe. Na kwoguo tondũ tũtiũĩ value ya mũtĩ rĩ, atĩ mĩtĩ nĩwe ĩtũmaga tũhote gũkorwo twĩ muoyo rĩ, nĩkĩo tũtemangaga mĩtĩ ũrĩa tũkwenda, nĩkĩo tũtahandaga mĩtĩ ĩrĩa ĩngĩ. Why? Because we have not understood that the worth of the environment is beyond measure. There will never be an instrument that man will make that will be able to quantify the worth of the environment. It is beyond measure. Now, when we own the environment, when we know that it is so valuable, na nikio haria Hosea 4 turero, my people are destroyed due to lack of knowledge. Knowledge ni ya gwithomera, wisdom tuheagwo ni Ngai. Na nikio wonaga ringi tutirathoma, tutiramenya ati mĩtĩ ĩna bata, tutiramenya maĩ mena bata, nikio tondu tutire na knowledge iyo, ithuĩ tuikaraga ro ũguo, tutiendaga kumenya ĩno ĩtaranagia na ĩno ĩngĩ atĩa, nikio tutaramenya worth, na nikio tutarahota kumenyerera environment. Hĩndĩ ĩrĩa twamenya environment, ni tuhotaga kuhuthira kindu sustainably. Tarĩu wahota kurora uria tuhuthirite. I'll give an example ya miti. People have cut down trees, people have exploited forest, and it is not because you find sometimes you go to, I went to one house one day, and this house was paneled with hardwood, all the walls. Imagine even the wall where it was outside stone, but inside they had paneled with very expensive hardwood. What does that mean? For this man to have his house paneled in hardwood worth billions of shillings, he had to destroy trees. Really, did he need to destroy so many trees because he wanted a wood paneled house? That means we need to sustainably use the environment. That is a commandment from God. You protect, you preserve, and you conserve what God has given us. Taru ugirora guku ni tukoragwo na dumping ground kuria Dandora. Tukoragwo na dumping ground kuu niki. Ni tondu tutirahuthira kiria Ngai atuhete sustainably. Ni atia gukoragwo kuria ati kuihurite irio iteyangitwo. Kwina kuwahota gukora kwina ngima, kwina nyeni iteyangitwo. Nyeni icio ihautetwo Dandora dumping ground iyo ri ciumite mugunda kundu handu ha mundu arie irio ria kwagirire ri ararugire irio nyingi araria tunini icio ingi arate. That is wastage. We are not conserving the environment when we harvest and cook and not eat what we have cooked. That is not conserving the environment. Koguo na hindi ria tukuria ri, let us eat, and what we have not eaten, let us conserve it. Thikũ ici andũ Ngai nĩ atũrathimire twĩna fridge. Can we put that food we have not eaten in the fridge? Thikũ ici nĩ twagĩrĩirwo ona nĩ tũmenye atĩ nĩ kũrĩ ũrĩa ũngĩhota gũ-conserve mboga iria ũtanahota kwendia rĩ, ũci-conserve, ũgaciũmithia. Mboga icio waci-conserve rĩ, you can be able to use them in the dry months when there is no excessive vegetable from the garden. Conserve the environment. Work and take care of it. Ucio ni watho kuma kwi Ngai. Kuria kungiri ni uria twiragwo tukakorwo tukimenyerera ucio ungi. Tugire ni twende mundu ucio ungi ni tondu wa we mwenyewe na ucio ungi na kutia riathani ria Ngai. Na kwoguo ri hindi ciothe tukiumagara tugithie maundu-ini maitu tumenyage atiriri environment ino ri Ngai aigire haria iguru atiriri amiakire nigetha ndikanathukio. Ithui ri turagithukia environment niki? Na niyo Ngai atuigite. Twathukia thi ino ri tugugithie ku? Riu ri ni tukwenda tumenye ndamwira ati ni ya bata niki? Environment ri ituheaga indo inya. Imwe citagwo provisioning services. Na hindi ya provisioning services ri ni ta irio, food, fresh water, kuu nikuo turutaga fuel wood, nikuo turutaga fiber. Ngũ ici twikirite ri origin yacio ri cia tene tigaru thikũ ici kwina plastic which are made twarukagĩra nguo ciumĩte mĩtĩ-inĩ. Na ningĩ genetic resources. Genetic resources ni kuga atiriri mbegu iyo ya mbembe ri yoimire ku? Korwo ni yaninirwo ni mundu ri umuthi tutingiri mbembe. Nyamu iria ciikuo githaka-ini ri ni genetic, na kwoguo ri tucimenyerere ni tondu kiu ni kindu kimwe tuheagwo ni environment. Iwe ingi ri itagwo regulating services. Na regulating services ri ni indo iria itumaga climate regulation. Thikũ ici turaigua turaria uhoro wa climate change. Climate change yukite niki? Wa mbere ni tondu ni twatemire miti uria gutagirire. Undu wa keri ni tuhuthagira petroleum products in an let me use it in an ungodly way. Ugakora mundu ena gikari kinene kiranyua petrol tucietaga gasless, because you have the money, you want to use petroleum products in an unsustainable manner. Na hindi ya turahuthira petroleum products cirutaga ndogo iyo ri itagwo greenhouse gases. Na greenhouse gases ni ciitumaga thi ihiuhe gukira uria Ngai endete. Na hindi ria thi yahiuha ri gukira uria Ngai endete ri niguo uraigua kwina mirimu mingi muno yukaga. Ukaigua kwina mirimu itakoragwo kuo 1900. Kwina mirimu thikũ ici na ndiakoragwo kuo. Niki? Ni tondu ni turegete, ni tuthukitie environment, tugaikia ndogo nyingi muno, tugatema miti iria nyuaga ndogo iyo, kwoguo gukaga balance. Undu ungi ni water regulation, na water purification. Miti niyo ipurifyaga mai. Na ningi regulating services ri ni pollination. Andu marahuthira chemicals kwi migunda njuki itathiaga. Na hindi iria njuki itarathii ri, njuki cingikuwa mothe ciothe thi ng'ima ri, tutingikorwo na mimera. tondu njuki nicio ikuaga kuma ihua riria ringi igatwara pollen ihua riria ringi kou igekwo fertilization. Kwoguo ri kuregulate irio cigakura, nyamu iringi igathi na mbere, na climate igakorwo ĩ njega nigetha mĩrimũ ĩtige gũka. Gwĩ kĩndũ kĩngĩ environment ĩtũheaga, na kĩndũ kĩu nĩ cultural services. Hĩndĩ ĩrĩa ndiũ kana nĩ ũrĩ wathiĩ national park, na kũu ũguo kwĩna mĩtitũ, kũndũ gũthaka, kũndũ rĩera ĩhorerete, mũndũ athiĩ national park rĩ, aimaga kũu akĩiguaga nginya thayũ nĩ agĩire, thayũ nĩ ũiguire, ngoro nĩ yakena. Na nĩkĩo muonaga rĩrĩ, athũngũ matũraga gũkũ mokaga gũthiĩ national park citũ, tondũ kũrĩa kwao gũtirĩ national park ciĩ thayũ, mĩtĩ mĩthaka, nyamũ thaka, icio nĩcio indo iria Ngai ekĩrire gũkũ, nĩcio twenjoyaga kuma kwĩ environment. So my brother, my sister, can we take care of the environment? Kĩndũ kĩu kĩngĩ tũheagwo rĩ, nĩ environment ĩtagwo supporting services. Na iyo ri ni soil formation, tondu tene ri tĩri ũyũ twĩnaguo gũkũ ri warĩ mahiga, na nĩ ũndũ wa processes cio gũthiĩ na mbere gũkĩgĩa tĩri nĩkĩo tũhotaga kũhanda irio. Na rĩngĩ nutrient cycling, atĩ nutrient indo iria mĩtĩ nĩ ĩrĩaga indo, ta rĩu we wahandaga mbegũ haha, wahanda mbegũ ya kĩndũ rĩ, ĩgacoka yagĩa mĩri rĩ, ĩkarĩa irio kuma tĩri-inĩ. Mũtĩ ũcio rĩ ũgakũra okorwo nĩ ta mbembe, thutha wa mĩeri igana ũna rĩ tũkarĩa mbembe. Mĩri ĩyo ĩkũrutĩte irio tĩri-inĩ, ĩkarehe na ithuĩ mbembe rĩ tũkarĩa ciĩna kĩndũ. Kwoguo nĩ mũrona ũrĩa environment ĩ kĩndũ kĩa goro, nĩ tũbatiĩ kũmĩmenyerera, tondũ twamĩthũkia, kũrĩ mĩgũnda ĩngĩ andũ marĩmaga magekĩra fertilizer, nginya mũthenya ũmwe wahanda rĩ mĩmera yaku ĩkarega gũkũra, ũkarigwo nĩkĩ tĩri ũyũ kaĩ gwathiĩ atĩa, rĩngĩ ũgeciria mbegũ ciaku itirarĩ njega, no mbegũ ciaku irarĩ njega, nĩ tĩri waku ũrang'athirie, tondũ nĩ waũthũkirie, nĩ waũrogire na gwĩkagĩra fertilizer, ona ndũrareka tĩri ũyũ ũhurũke. Na fertilizer ici rĩ ingĩ nĩ ũrogi kũrĩ tĩri. Nĩ twagĩrĩirwo nĩ kũmenyera environment. Rĩu rĩ tareke tũrore nĩ atĩa kwĩtagwo defiling the environment, na nĩ ngwenda kwaria ũndũ ũmwe ũrĩa andũ mathũkagia environment, ũndũ Ngai athũire mũno. Kĩndũ kĩa mbere gĩa gũthũkia environment, no ũrigwo hihi haha rĩ harathiĩ atĩa, nĩ shedding of blood. Proverbs 6:16 nginya 17 rĩ harerwo atĩrĩrĩ, there are 6 things that the Lord hates, 7 that are detestable. No imagine Ngai akiuga detestable, ũndũ ũtũmaga Ngai aigue ngoro yake nĩ yathũka. Na ũndũ ũcio rĩ nĩ haughty eyes, lying tongue, na akoiga atĩrĩrĩ, hands that shed blood, atĩ gũita thakame, na ti thakame ya mbũri kana ya thia kana ya njogu, ya mbere nĩ shedding blood ya mũndũ. Nĩ ngũmũtwara harĩ hĩndĩ ĩrĩa Cain na Abel, anake acio erĩ nĩ marutĩra Ngai magongona. Igongona rĩa Abel nĩ rĩetĩkĩrĩka, Cain rĩ rĩake rĩtietĩkĩrĩkire tondũ ndarutire igongona kwĩ Ngai kũringana na ũrĩa mathĩtwo. Na hĩndĩ ĩrĩa Cain anyitirwo nĩ ũiru na marakara, akĩũraga mũrũ wa nyina tondũ atĩ igongona rĩake rĩrĩaterega gwĩtĩkĩrĩka. Na Ngai nĩ watha nĩ tondũ nĩ ageririe gũcaria ũrĩa Cain angĩrira, aramũria eha mũrũ wa nyũkwa, nake tondũ wa arrogance Cain ndetĩkĩrire kwĩrira. Na hĩndĩ ĩrĩa aregire kwĩrira rĩ, arumirwo akĩrwo atĩrĩrĩ, when you work the ground it will no longer yield its crops for you. Ũguo tũrawona Genesis 2:12. Ta imagine Ngai we mwenyewe nĩ aroiga atĩ twaita thakame, kũu nĩ kũ defile the environment, twaita thakame ĩyo rĩ, Mwathani atũiguĩre tha, atĩ tũrĩrutaga wĩra na tũtirĩonaga kĩndũ kuma kũrĩ tĩri ũyũ. Na akaiga atĩrĩrĩ, you will be restless, you will become a restless wanderer on the earth. Ũcio nĩ Cain warumirwo ũguo. Ũmũthĩ ũyũ tũngĩkirwo ũguo twĩcirie rĩ, twĩcirie ta andũ marenda gũcoka he Ngai, andu marenda kuiguirwo tha ni Ngai ta wiyurie ni mabũrũri ni kundu ona guku gwitu Kenya na mabũrũri thiini wa thĩ ng'ima ta kiro oguo wiyurie atiriri ni kwa andu moraganaga oro oguo ati ni cattle wrestling no muhaka ng'ombe ciathi gutunyanwo andu magaita thakame tarora icigo icio cia bũrũri wiyurie atiriri niki gitumaga kundu kuu ni kumu kwi ng'aragu na ni kuraga mbura kundu kuu kwari miti tene twarora twathoma history tondu history ikiri kuo tukona kundu kwari miti mithaka kundu tiri wari mwega no riu thiko ici ri kundu kuu ri ni ng'aragu theri niki tondu ni matuire guita thakame ri ya andu ri ati ni kawaida Ngai akoiga atiriri waita thakame you defile the environment. And when you defile the environment by shedding blood, when you work the ground, it will no longer yield its crops for you. Endwa ko thini wa mwathani ta ni twirire mehia magikorwo handu hana itwa thakame owe kana utoi tutiwe aguka witu mekite atia bururi witu wa Kenya twanaigua andu maruaga magitunya na indo nituhere mehia mau. Undu ungiri turerwo ni over exploitation of resources due to greed na covetousness. Riu ni rihia ringi of defiling the nation. Proverbs 15 verse 27, he that is greedy of gain troubles his own house. Greed niwe tumaga tuteme miti, niwe tumaga twende gutonga na ihoya ria Ngai ritwirite atiriri utuhe umuthi irio citu cia gutuigana. Na ni wega gukorwo mundu ena muthithu no ni kuri mithithu ingi andu maigagira ni undu wa greed makeigira mithithu ukona ni kwiyombothorera. They are not thinking of their neighbors, and that greed igatuma to destroy the environment. Tukerwa atiriri, but he that hateth gifts shall live. Mundu uria uthuire undu ucio wa kwiyombothorera, mundu utari na greed nia turaga murathime. Na riu kwoguo ri endwa kwa thiini wa mwathani ri ni tukwendwo hindi ria tuigitwo guku tumenye Ngai agituiga guku arenda turute wira, arenda tumenyerere this environment nigetha tuture twina thayu ni tondu ni atwihokeire, ni atuhete ugi, ni atuhete faculties ya kumenyerera the environment. Na environment ni yake, niwe wa miubire, niwe wa designire, na tukeragwo yes he saw that it was good. Na kagikorwo Ngai nionire ni njegari na agicoka akiumba mundu akimuiga kuo mumenyereri, akimuhe dominion. Dominion ri ti wathani wa kuhinyiriria. Dominion ni uheo kindu ukiathe ugikimenyagirira. Dominion ti kuhinyiriria acha. Na nikio Ngai aheire Adam dominion, amimenyerere thi, amiathe na ugai, amiathe nigetha iture imenyage sustainaga from one generation to the other. Koro Adam hindi yo those many years koro ni yekire maundu moru akinina thiri tungiri haithui. We are there because people before us have used the environment sustainably in a godly way. And it is up for us today that we use the environment as it is today. We improve what has gone wrong. We take care of what has been destroyed. We want to reinstate it. And for this, tomorrow we will be looking at using what we are calling climate smart agriculture in a godly way, because we want to make sure that this environment is sustaining us. And that brings us to the end of our today's discussion. May God bless us.
Thank you very much. We really continue thanking God for you. Thank you for tuning in, and thank you so much, our guests, SERAH, KAHURI. I believe you've been noting some points down. Even for me, from my end, I've been learning a lot this morning, and I believe even in your end, you've been jotting some points. nĩ harĩ maũndũ ndakorwo ngĩthoma mũthenya wa ũmũthĩ na ngakĩoka atĩ ona harĩa hothe ũkiri nĩ wathiĩ na mbere kũigua atĩ yes you will learn a lot from it. And on the other side, before we go to the next phase, or rather to the last phase of the show, can see Mwadhi James who says following, Rose Pius who says Nikondani, Jane Maura, indeed very good teaching to all. Thank you, Sarah. May God help us. Amen and amen. Hannah Karanja who says great enlightenment on the environment from our guest. We need to learn these things. Now, back to you, Sarah Kahuri. And I can see Adibaski says fantastic show. One thing that I've admired about what we've just tackled is, different harnessment of environment and people. Because you have been relating environment and people in the same, a harnessed and conjoined perspective. And to me, I've come to realize that environment and people are inseparable. Because you find that if you need oxygen and you're cutting down trees, then you're putting your life at risk. The other thing is that even if you are doing industry and you're emitting gases, you're emitting waters that are contaminated into our streams, you find that at the end of it all, it is the same people that will be affected. And that has amazed me. But now, come to think of it, what would be your idea, or what would be your words and your advice to those people that own industries and those people that have big machines? We talked of, them being called, they emit greenhouse gases. I was jotting down some points.
Yes.
So what would be your advice to them? Because these are the kind of people that are making, the world, not only Kenya alone, it's the entire world, to be not as inhabitable as it's supposed to be as an environmentalist.
Yes, one, we need to be, we just need to be passionate.
Yes.
And be considerate of the other person. For example, let us talk about the use of vehicles. These days, there are so many vehicles in Kenya.
Yes.
And that is what happened in the developed world many years ago. If you're in and I've done this research,
yes,
you stand in Moi Avenue, Harambee Avenue, those big avenues in Nairobi,
yes,
and you find a car passing, it's only got one person.
yes,
One person, one person. Now, that is something we need to change. If, for example, somebody is coming from Wangige here and they work in town,
yes,
let them do what we call joint use. 5 people,
yes,
they sit down, they agree to go, or if it's a family. Sometimes you find a wife goes with her own vehicle.
yes,
The husband takes the next vehicle.
yes,
And then there's a third vehicle that takes the children to school.
yes,
And there's a fourth vehicle for the person who's been left at home to go and do shopping.
yes,
But really, isn't it possible that the husband and the wife and the children can all use one vehicle? You see now, that is one vehicle against 3 vehicles one day. So can we join forces? That is, for example, in the use of cars.
yes, yes,
Me and you, Paul,
yes,
let's go to Westlands together. Let me use my vehicle. Tomorrow we can use your vehicle.
yes,
And we minimize the emission of gases from the traffic sector.
yes,
Now, when it comes to industries, I'm telling you, you'll be surprised. If we did that,
yes,
the vehicles on our roads, the traffic jams that we have, they would be over.
yes,
Yes.
true,
And we have a society in Kenya, the Indians. The Indians, have you ever seen their vehicles? They use these small minibuses,
yes,
packed, a whole family.
yes, yes,
So it's not the wife, husband, different. Now, when it comes to our industrial people, there are ways,
yes,
and I'm telling you, they are very scientifically documented ways of how to get rid of your waste
yes,
without polluting the environment. I'll give you an example of one, and this is where sometimes I think the government should come in.
yes,
And even not just the government, even the clergy, educate our people.
yes,
You see, for example, where we have these open garages,
yes,
you see the way they pour out the oil, the
Yes.
dirty oil.
Yes.
That soil, I want to challenge you, Paul. And I will scoop that soil.
Yes.
You yenye iko na oil.
Yes.
Take that, go and try and plant something that is already dead soil. And it will never become alive again. So there is need for education.
Yes.
They are doing it to earn a living, and we respect that.
Yes.
Because if they are not earning, they are doing, they are working.
Yes.
But then we have not facilitated them to work in conducive conditions. All we need is just to put slabs and cement that place. And then that oil can be cleaned off and disposed of properly.
Yes.
So there is education that needs to be carried out, and there is, regulations to be followed. We have our NEMA.
Yes.
Our NEMA in Kenya, the environmental agency in Kenya,
Yes.
they keep on educating people. Sometimes it is me and you
Yes.
to follow those regulations. Because, it is not possible that the government will come and see what I'm doing on my farm, not using the right chemicals. So at a personal level, we need to follow, as I said,
Yes.
love your neighbor as you love yourself.
Wow.
Yes.
Loving your neighbor as you love yourself.
Yes.
When you were mentioning that a little earlier, I was just trying to disintegrate it and understand it in a very vast way.
Yes.
There's sometimes we do some things that because we do not care for our neighbors.
Yeah.
Because if your outlet of that industry is into the livers and you're doing all that without caring those other people, when love has been implanted deep within, there are some things that you cannot do.
That is true.
Yes.
Yes.
And the major reason why I was so much intrigued about it is that the Bible harnesses everything and makes, all almost into one.
Completely.
Because love
Yeah.
and environment and people sometimes will not have thought of how they would relate.
It's there.
But in this case,
It's like how would I put it? You see the way we make the hair.
Yes, we braid
we braid it.
Yes.
Three. They are
Yes,
intertwined,
yes.
and none is beautiful without the other, and none is strong without the other.
yes.
We are interdependent on each other. We Paul,
Yes.
you cannot hate the environment and love yourself.
True.
You cannot refuse to take care of the environment and you think you're taking care of yourself.
Sure.
I mean, you're shooting yourself in the foot. Yes. And there is a verse in Revelations
Yes.
11:18. Although there has been an argument that it was not referring to the environment as we know it, it goes deeper in Revelations.
Yes.
But even if you were to take it, with regard to the environment, it says God will destroy those who destroy creation. And that
Yes.
includes themselves. I know there's a different way of looking at that, but if today we are to look at it from the environmental,
Yes.
it means God is not happy with us.
Sure.
Yeah, have a look at sometimes the floods that are happening today in these countries.
Yes.
It's destroying the people themselves.
Yes.
Many people have lost their lives because of those floods, and the flooding that is happening today is as a result of climate change.
Yes.
You saw what happened, was it last year in Australia?
Yes.
The fires. That is because of climate change.
Yes.
It's too hot. Now, how many properties were destroyed because of those fires?
A lot of it.
I mean, it was frightening.
yes.
And it is because we have not taken care of the environment the way we should. When we cut these trees,
Yes.
we are heating, literally.
Yes.
When we emit those gases act like, that's why I called greenhouse gases.
Yes.
They warm. They act as they absorb warmth.
Yes.
And they warm the earth. And if we keep on emitting,
Yes.
we are going to be in trouble.
Wow.
Yes. So you cannot, you and the trees. So Paul,
Yes.
next time you see these plants you have, flowers you have outside here, I'm sure you're going to start loving them differently.
Yes. Yes.
Because you realize the way this place is cool, the way you're healthy, it
Yes.
is because of these plants outside here.
Sure.
Yes.
Wow. I believe you are just amazed as the way I am, because this is so intriguing, and we're digging deeper today as far as environment is put into place. And I believe tomorrow is coming, Wednesday is there, Thursday is there, Friday, and we'll climax it on Saturday. And I believe that you'll have learned a lot. One thing that I would ask you to do, just a little thing that I know you can do it. Make sure that you call those people on board tomorrow, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, so that at the end of it all will be in a position to learn and will be in a position to educate each other. You quoted Hosea, and you say that my people perish for lack of knowledge.
Yes.
That is why we are here.
Yes.
Because majority of people are doing whatever they are doing because they are not knowledgeable enough.
Yes.
They don't know the merge and the blend between them and the environment.
Yes.
They just think that the government is pushing us so hard for the environment, and it's not our work to do it.
Yes.
It's their work to take care of the environment.
I know.
Where am I coming to contact with the environment anyway?
Yes.
But now we are here to seek knowledge.
Yeah.
We are here to educate each other. We are here to make sure that we learn, so that if you want to remain healthy, if you want your soil to remain healthy, if you want to plant and your crops produce, if you want to become better version of yourself, then environment should be your priority. Now we need to move from that level of, owning the environment as a group, as a country, as a county, but we go to that level of owning an environment as an individual.
True.
The way we say that peace begins with you.
Yes. Love begins with you.
Yes.
And it isn't just, we're not being given an option.
Yes.
It's
mandatory.
God commanded it.
It's a command.
Yes, it is a command.
Just imagine if you go to heaven and you're told the one thing why you're not going to heaven, you did not fulfill one major mandate.
You did not take care of my environment.
Imagine, how would you feel?
Yes.
Because about how we're going to learn about it, you find that a lot of things are happening in our lives, in our society, in our community, in our country, in our nation, also in the world, because we neglected the environment. We've been told 4 major elements. Talk of provisioning. That was where I was so much sticked, that food, fresh water, fiber, genetic resources, courtesy of our environment. But currently we are complaining we don't have food. Currently we are complaining we don't have fresh water. Currently we are complaining that things are not working so well. The land is way too dry. The crops are not yielding. Why? Because we're not taking care of the environment.
Sure.
As we conclude, on my perspective, I would say that caring for the environment is tit for tat game, right?
Yes.
Do to the environment what you would want it to give back to you.
True.
But some of us, we are so much into doing wrong to the environment, and you expect to yield from it. You cannot.
It will not happen.
It's a two-way thingy.
True.
It's a two-way thingy. So from your end point, I don't know what you've been... I can see Hannah Karanja says a great show indeed. Thank you very much, Hannah Karanja. And this show continues tomorrow all the way to Saturday. All you need to do, avail yourself, call your friend, have somewhere to jot some points, and also make sure that you carry along your friend. Finally, you've enlightened us about currently we have a lot of rains in our country.
Yes.
And we have vegetables all over. And now you've mentioned about this kind of, making our lives better, not only now in this season of plenty, but also in times of scarcity.
Yes.
And now you've mentioned about something very intriguing, and I felt like you should touch it a little more about it. That now there is a plan, and there is a way you can be in a position to preserve whatever you have in plenty now for that scarcity season that is coming.
Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
Because now when you go to any given market currently, we have vegetables all over.
Yeah.
We have spinaches all over.
Cheap.
Yes, we have them.
And
Others.
very green.
Yes.
Yes.
Very healthy.
Yes.
Even others are throwing them away because they don't have
There's
the
no
value.
market.
Yes, there's no market for them.
It's too much.
Yes.
Yes.
So I would want you to touch a little bit about that.
Yes.
But now, how do we go about it? Just in a nutshell, because I know we will be elaborating it as the time comes, but it is good to mention to everyone who is listening and viewing to us so that they can know that in the near future, there is a way that we're going to teach them in these courses of the days
Yes.
before Saturday. That hiyo mboga yako ambayo imekuwa too much, you feel like now it's my time to nitoatoe so that suckers can rise again. You throw others you take to to the market. You find the market is not so good and you're like, now you call your neighbors, chukueni wanabeba zinabaki. How do you go about it?
The first thing is we call it adding value. And let me just talk about sukuma wiki.
Yes.
Sukuma wiki, you can dry it.
Yes.
And you don't even have to use a very high-level technology. Just put it in a, this wire mesh.
Yes.
And put it in a clean place. Within a week,
Yes.
your sukuma wiki will be dry.
Yes.
Don't use direct sunlight. Put it in a place where, because the sunlight will destroy some of the nutrients.
Yes.
You'll put it nicely in a dry, cool place that is warm enough to dry your vegetables, your sukuma wiki.
Yes.
And I'll tell you what, instead of that sukuma wiki going to waste,
Yes.
you, after it's dry, you seal it up,
Yes.
and you store it.
Yes.
And those dry vegetables, it's what the developed world lives on.
Yes.
Yes.
Wow.
So we can conserve. I'll talk about the tomatoes.
Yes.
I think we need, like I said, knowledge. Knowledge, we are perishing due to lack of knowledge.
Yes.
You see the way in Kenya we throw away our tomatoes
Yes.
when they are in plenty. You go to the market, you find a heap of rotting tomatoes.
Yes.
But we have a country, for example, I'll mention Ghana. Ghana, when they are in plenty,
Yes.
tomatoes, there's a way they cook
Yes.
their tomatoes, and they add onions, they add oil,
Yes.
they add like ginger or pepper, and they call it shito. And you can use those tomatoes for more than a year.
Wow.
Doesn't go bad, and you don't even have to freeze it. So why are we in Kenya not utilizing some of these technologies to preserve our, when we have a bumper harvest?
Yes.
We have, instead of when we have a bumper harvest in Kenya, we're having then later a lost harvest.
Sure. Sure.
Yeah?
Sure.
Look at, for example, the Luos. And I think this now other tribes
Yes.
need to know what the Luos do. Luos, when they chinja,
Yes.
ngombe,
Yes.
they know how to preserve. They do drying it with salt sometimes, or they put it over fire and dry it, and then they hang that meat.
Yes.
That's meat. It is edible 6 months down the line.
Wow.
Why am I mentioning this? We do have some tribes in Kenya, when they are faced with drought,
Yes.
their animals die and they go to waste. These animals could be slaughtered and preserved,
Yes.
eh?
Yes.
Luo style. And then the sad thing is their animals die, and then themselves they're also dying of hunger.
Yes.
Isn't it?
Yes.
So can you see we are losing both ways? Instead of gaining from this animal, it's not dying because of disease.
Yes.
It's dying because of drought.
Yes.
So instead of waiting for this animal to die because of drought, you harvest, isn't it?
Yes.
You
When
ginger
its
it.
peak is there.
Yes, you have it. You slaughter it.
Yes.
You preserve it. You hang it. Every other day, when there's still drought, take your piece of meat, soak it in water, cook it, and eat it. It's fresh.
You got to
Hey,
go.
Paul, you haven't eaten that meat which is dried and then cooked again.
And it's nice.
It's so sweet, and
Very
the
sweet.
good thing is all the nutrients are preserved.
Wow.
There's no loss of nutrients.
Yes.
So knowledge, knowledge.
Yes.
Like we were told work. I think Yana was saying knowledge.
Exactly.
Yes.
And as we conclude, because our time is far much spent, it's 8:07 already.
Okay.
Imagine.
Yeah.
The topic is so juicy to an extent. We're not seeing time flying. But today, as we wind up our parting shot, or rather my parting shot before I come back to you, is that as we continue doing all these, you find that we are creating, because if you harness all what we have said, then creation of employment is allocated. We will need people to drive that meat. We will need people to make sure that our vegetables have been bought.
Yes.
And now you've mentioned that even in outside countries, they survive on those, right?
Ghana.
Yes. So that means there is an opportunity.
Completely.
And that goes back to where I started, that now the environment is demanding tit for tat. Do to the environment what you would want it to do or give back to you.
Yes.
Right? Because if you take care of it, you find that it will also take care of you in one way or the other.
Yes.
Your final remarks. SERAH KAHURI, who was our guest today.
My final remark is that God is kind to us.
Yes.
He trusts us. He has given us responsibilities.
Yes.
And you can only be given a responsibility by somebody who trusts you.
Yes.
So why are we not, when you don't utilize that trust, it is you who is the loser.
True.
So God trusts us. God knows we can be able to take care of the environment. And so he put us, he did make us managers.
Yes.
That is not a small job. So can we respectably live as God made us to be?
Amen.
Yes.
Live as God expected you to live.
A manager.
Manage.
Yes.
And when somebody gives you a manager role, it means he has everything, right?
Trust you.
And that means even if you don't do it, the person will not lose. You're the one who is going to lose.
Exactly.
That is why even in our companies and also in our areas of specialities and also in our workplaces, we're so much close to our CEOs. We want them to realize what we are doing. Why? Because we don't want to be fired.
Exactly.
Till tomorrow, see you. May God bless you. Let your day be filled with God's grace. And let this week be full of God's favor and protection above you. As we say each and every morning, as you go out there, may God bless you. As you come in, may God bless you. And even may he continue teaching your fingers to make wealth. In the name of God the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit.